Hey there, and welcome to the download. On Thursday, September 23rd, Nintendo held a 40-minute direct event to make several big announcements about games coming to the Switch console and then some. I definitely wasn't expecting news about an animated Mario movie and that cast, which we'll get to in a moment, but generally speaking, some of the announcements were bigger and more significant than others. Here were the 5 biggest announcements from Nintendo's September Direct event. Number 5, 2 legendary games hit the Switch: Disco Elysium Final Cut and Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. Yes, they are available elsewhere, and yes, they have been out for some time now, but they've never been available in the portability of the Switch. Save for Knights of the Old Republic, I played that whole game on my iPad several years back. But despite the dated graphics, it's still an excellent game. If you can't wait for the remake coming to the PlayStation 5 and have yet to play Knights of the Old Republic, Nintendo is giving you that chance, starting in November. Disco Elysium is more of a modern classic, and according to critics, is one of the best role-playing games ever made, so that one is definitely worth your time if you're looking for a game to sink your teeth into. Disco Elysium arrives October 12th, and Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic launches on November 11th. Number 4, Kirby and the Forgotten Land. This doesn't quite look like Super Mario Odyssey, and it's not an open world game like Zelda Breath of the Wild, but this Kirby game looks like the most appealing one yet, especially now that it's set in a 3D world. It's probably most similar to Super Mario 3D World, which provides a mostly linear experience but in a 3D environment. Still, it looks beautiful and fun and makes good use of Kirby's unique abilities to float, suck in enemies, and capture their abilities. Kind of like Mario's Cap in Odyssey, but let's be real, Kirby did this first. He's the OG. Kirby and the Forgotten Land arrives in spring 2022. Number 3, the Super Mario movie. My ears immediately perked up when I saw Shigeru Miyamoto, creator of Mario and Zelda, show up on screen during this event. My brain started racing when I saw him. Is this a sequel to Super Mario Odyssey? A new Zelda? A new IP entirely? What's going on here? It was none of those things, and my eyes got even wider when he instead announced the English language cast of his Super Mario animated movie, arriving in December 2022, a full year away. I'm not going to bury the lead here. Chris Pratt as Mario. Let me repeat that. Chris Pratt as Mario. The other casting choices are just kind of funny, definitely meme-worthy, like Jack Black as Bowser, and Keegan Michael Key as Toad, and Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong, but I was just kind of in shock during this whole announcement, like my soul left my body. I still can't tell if any of this is a good thing. This movie could be absolutely abysmal, which would not be surprising. Illumination, the animated studio doing this one, also made The Secret Life of Pets and Sing and Minions, all movies that continue to haunt the culture. But who knows, maybe this will be good. It is Mario after all. Number 2, Bayonetta 3. Nintendo, of course, had to save the best for last. The first Bayonetta game was one of the best action games made at the time, back in 2009 for the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3. But when the company behind Bayonetta, Platinum Games, started working with Sega on the sequel, Sega pulled the rug out from under the development team and canceled the game. Thankfully, Nintendo reached out and offered funding to finish the game, and that sequel, which arrived in 2014, ended up being significantly better than the original. Now, the third game in the series is finally set to arrive in 2022 after years in development. Nintendo revealed a cinematic from the game showcasing Bayonetta's trademark witch skills, a combination of punches, kicks, ranged weapons, and magical attacks, to dispatch demonic and godly or ungodly enemies. Bayonetta is a game of epic scale. It's fast-paced and absolutely enormous in terms of the scope of what you do in the games and the enemies you fight. So Bayonetta 3, based on the pedigree of the first 2 games, is likely to deliver more of that greatness. It should be one of the best games you can buy for the Switch when it arrives next year. Number 1, Nintendo 64 games are coming to the Nintendo Switch. People have been waiting on this announcement for years, ever since Nintendo first introduced its online service that would allow people to play games from the original Nintendo and Super Nintendo. The technology was always there, it was just up to Nintendo to finally utilize it. Now, in late 2021, Nintendo has finally done just that. A quote-unquote expansion pack to the original Nintendo Online service will offer a handful of Nintendo 64 games starting in late October. Nintendo Switch Online in the US costs just $4 a month or $20 a year, but this expansion pack will definitely make that more expensive. Exactly how much more expensive is still unclear. But Nintendo will offer some of its most classic, beloved games at launch, including Super Mario 64, The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, Star Fox 64, Mario Tennis, Yoshi's Story, basically all of the games that made my childhood amazing. But more than that, this expansion pack also includes a handful of Sega Genesis games, so if you were one of those kids growing up who only had a Nintendo 64 or a Sega Genesis, you'll finally be able to have both, all of these years later. That includes games like Sonic the Hedgehog, Echo the Dolphin, and a bunch of other games I never played because I never owned a Sega Genesis. In any case, these games, while no longer visually stunning like they were back in the late 90s, were groundbreaking at the time and still offer a lot of replay value today. Nintendo promises more games will be added to the library, including Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, Pokemon Snap, F-Zero X, Banjo-Kazooie, and more. And if you want the full retro experience, Nintendo is going to sell wireless versions of those old N64 and Sega Genesis controllers for $50 a piece, so you can truly feel like a 90s kid all over again. Shitty Nintendo controller and all. Seriously, that thing was good looking, but kind of a pain in the ass to actually use. Anyway, Nintendo 64 games. They'll finally be on the Switch. Now, go play Ocarina of Time again. That is the best game ever made. Well, that was it. Those were the 5 best announcements from Nintendo's big September Direct event. But now I want to hear from you. What is your ranking? What are you most excited for? Should Splatoon 3 be on this list, for instance? Would you have changed any of the casting decisions for the Super Mario movie? Let me know your thoughts. Just drop them in the comments section below. And if you like this video, please do give it a like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching the download. Until next time.
It's me, Mario.
Who?